Let's get ready to rumble!
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
So I fought Beterbiev when he was undefeated, all knockouts. No one questioned my character in terms of who I'm willing to fight. I went to Russia to fight Kovalev. These guys are more dangerous than just Wortsy.
Frank Bruno went across the pond to fight an unbeaten Mike Tyson, the most feared boxer on the planet. Dennis Andrews went to Detroit, in Tommy Hearn's hometown, and battled with him. The difference is, Dennis Andrews became champion. Frank Bruno became champion on his 4th attempt. How much more opportunities is Anthony Yarde going to get at 34? Taking on the best in your weight class is not really a badge of honor. How else are you going to make money, or how else are you going to advance in the sport if you're not prepared to take on the best in your weight class when the opportunities arise? Why do Team Yarde make such a big deal of telling us who he's fought? There comes a time you've got to tell us who you fought and who you're beating to be relevant. Tunde said nobody wanted to fight David Benavidez. I highly doubt that there was no world-ranked light heavies who didn't want to challenge David Benavidez for that WBC strap. He said that Bivol and Beterbiev avoided the fight. It's not quite true. I mean, Beterbiev called him out post-fight. He called him out. And as somebody said, you can't get credit just for accepting the fight. That's 3 failed attempts for world titles. It's the language of mediocrity. I don't remember us dapping up Frank Bruno because he fought the dangerous Tim Witherspoon for the WBA title, then fought the even more dangerous Mike Tyson, then Lennox Lewis. 3 failed attempts to try and get the world title, but he got it right on the 4th one against Oliver McCall. And that's when he got the celebrity parade on the open-top bus from Marble Arch to Trafalgar Square. Thousands of fans lined the streets to celebrate Bruno's victory over Oliver McCall. And that's how it should be. You should be given encouragement when you lose, especially if it's an admirable effort. But you shouldn't get all the plaudits that the boxers these days expect for 2nd place. But let me not contradict myself. Frank Bruno, I'm going to say Frank Bruno is the first big black sports celebrity in the United Kingdom. And every time he lost, he seemed to come back more popular than ever. But at the same time, we're talking about a culture I don't want to revisit. So if anyone thinks that I'm going a little hard on British boxing or Britain, I don't want to go back to that culture where Eddie the Eagle Edwards couldn't even get off the skiing ramps. I was getting the front page on the red tops. And we were celebrating a culture of losing. Football, for instance. We haven't won internationally a major title, European or World Cup since 1966. But every time a World Cup or a Euro tournament would come up, there was this great optimism about what England was going to do. And it still hasn't manifested. Dream it, believe it, become it. For all those listening, thank you, Mayweather Boxing Channel. We all know the affiliation. I've been around for a long time. Learned my trade in a Floyd's gym. Well, actually, I learned it in my gym, but I went there to validate what I knew I had. You know, you go back and watch the old YouTube videos. I said I would always be eternally grateful and indebted to the Mayweather family because I learned the foundation from those guys, and I took it to a new level.
But there are some unanswered questions that we have about Anthony as well. We don't know about his chin yet. We don't know how he reacts when the chips are down, when the fight's going against us. He's yet to have that real acid test.
Yes.
Would you have liked a little bit more time before jumping in with an elite operator like Kovalev?
First of all, you ain't never going to see how good his chin is. That's why I'm the teacher. My job is to make you lot never see how good his chin is. That's what a teacher does. See, I don't just parrot. My name ain't Sir Echo. So echoing what 98 or 99% of people say in the gym. Oh, let's see how good his chin is. You ain't seeing how good his chin. You ain't gonna see it. That's what my job is. Anthony can adjust to anything. I'm yet to see someone take Anthony out of second gear. I'm yet to see. And there's a reason for that. You're talking about Anthony, but we already know this guy gasses out after 4 rounds. We already know he can't take body shots. We already know he's been knocked out. with a right and left hook. We already know that any athletic fighter he's come up against, he has problem. Andre Ward can't punch like Anthony Yarde. I'm just telling you the truth. Andre Ward ain't got... Listen to what I'm telling you. Andre Ward does not have the skill set of Anthony Yarde. I'm telling you. I heard Andre Ward talk about he's going to have to go through fire. No, you had to go through fire, Mr. Ward. We ain't going through no fire. After this fight, we ain't getting tested on nothing. I don't put that in my mind.
Some things just don't age well. I mean, after the Kovalev defeat, hearing back what he said about Andre Ward would make you say, the F is he talking about? But after 2 more failed attempts to become champion, and let's face it, the less than impressive showing on Saturday, you're thinking that Tunde is perhaps a bit of a tool to even think he had any business comparing Anthony Yarde to a 2-weight, a unified champion in both weight classes, an Olympic gold medalist in Andre Ward.
Crazy.
We've got too many fighters over here where either they're promoters, the coaches, or the fighters themselves are saying a lot. They're saying a lot. I don't know if we need media training or maybe just have the trainers, the fighters do less media, and perhaps the media, the British media who cover boxing, they need some training as well. Because if you're just going to be asking the same repeated questions that another 20 outlets asked the fighter previously, then where are we going really? Do you really need to be asking somebody who is, let's say, 24 hours away from contesting a world title, what do they think of several other matches or Tank Davis's situation in the legal system? Do you need to be asking them all these other questions, not related to their contest or not related to the card? I'm speaking from the perspective of somebody who's been watching boxing seriously from, I want to say, 1982, 1983. You can't put the genie back in the lamp. But I just remember when there wasn't so much media and there wasn't a platform for a lot of coaches and boxers just to hang themselves, literally. And don't get me wrong, if you're self-promoting, self-promote. But like I said earlier, you have to back up when you talk a lot. Tunde went on and on and on and on. And I don't know what to make of it. There's parts of me that think it's brilliant marketing. They've had 3 world opportunities. All of them ended in stoppage losses. But I don't know what Tunde thinks. I don't know what Yarde thinks of what Tunde was saying. I don't know. Maybe they're just too busy counting the money they've made. And I'm not mad at that.
I ain't mad at you. We ain't mad at you.
In fairness on Yarde don't really come on camera talking a lot of shit. He screams lines in the camp, but that's the mantra for the camp. Tunde talks a lot of crap, and maybe Yarde should have pulled him up, or Frank Warren should have. I think there was a stage Frank Warren wanted Tunde out of the camp. Things were near coming to a head after the first Lyndon Arthur fight, where Anthony Yarde was out-appointed, and Yarde was considering whether Tunde was going to remain 23 or 2024. They decided that they were going to become free agents. And do what exactly? Go make deals with Turki Al Sheikh? You don't have a belt. Then went running back to Frank. But when you look at it, the amount of British fighters we have who are making a lot of money from the sport and haven't won world titles. Anthony Yarde, Chris Eubank Jr., Johnny Fisher, Conor Benn. Some of them might get to a sanctioning belt and become a world champion. I think a lot of them may need the situation to be manufactured by their promoters. Ben Whittaker. I don't know how much he's made out of boxing. He's got a lot of press, a lot of media time. He's the same age as David Benavidez. It's time to deliver.
Something that really confused me, I spoke to Frank Smith about it as well too, and he gave me a good response. But I was listening to Ben Shalom's interview with Steve Bunce on the BBC, and it's about kind of him moving forward with Boxer and losing yourself. And he kind of mentioned that, you know, BBC kind of wanted certain talents and kind of alluded to the fact that maybe it was a decision on their side not to want you. And I kind of thought that makes no sense. Why would the BBC not want someone like Ben Whittaker? Could you clear up that situation as to who wanted what? And
a lot of people have got a lot of things to say. I will come across bigoted, but I don't want to come across bigoted. I'm speaking facts. Other than the AJs, other than the Conor Benns, who really brings views like me? Not many. So a lot of promoters, a lot of platforms would want me. They've said themselves. Talking like this is cringy, but it's true. So Ben Shalom, why would he want to lose me? Frank Warren, why would he not want me? A Wasserman or MVP, why wouldn't they want me? Top rank. Obviously they did, but the person who brought the right deal was Matchroom. I joined them, and here we are. But it's he say, she say, really.
Ben Shalom basically using a cope strategy.
Ben Whittaker, who's also going to be on that Chris Billum-Smith, Richard Reactball card. We saw you out in the US with him and working on his image, which certainly doesn't need much work. How much of a star can he become?
Look, I've not worked with fighters that can attract the interest that Ben attracts because it's so rare to find someone in his position attracting the amount of attention, never mind in the UK but in the US as well. It's special. The numbers he does is special. The talent he has is special, but most importantly, he's very, very dedicated. The key is to get him to the top of the sport. It's not to be a viral sensation. That will come with it. That stuff takes care of itself because of who he is. The key is now to develop in the ring, to get him to the top of the division and to achieve his legacy. We've seen what he can do in the amateur sport. People talk about his toughness. He's fought the Cubans, he's fought the Russians, he's fought the Eastern Europeans. He's extremely tough, extremely talented, and the key is to keep him active. And the way he's blown up is incredible. We just want to keep him fit, active, healthy, taking the right fights, creating a superstar, because British boxing and boxing needs superstars, and I believe he's the next one.
Is there any concern that you've built him up to this incredible level and there's a possibility that he goes to another promoter during that time? Are you fully convinced that he'll be a boxer fighter for many years to come?
Look, he's in a long-term contract and it's very, very early days, and so the journey we've been on in such a short period of time, it hasn't even started yet. So as much as people are looking at how big we've got him to now, the goal was to try and become the face of the sport, and people might laugh, but look at what he's doing and look at the numbers that he's doing, and we think we can take boxing to new audiences. Just got to continue keeping him active, working hard, and yeah, very special talent.
Whatever Ben Shalom is saying now, he wasn't saying last year. He thought he had Ben Whittaker tied into a long-term contract, but after losing his deal at Sky and not being able to provide a platform on Sky no more, the contract was probably void. But it's just a cope. It's just a cope. It's kind of like Eddie Hearn talking shit about Devin Haney. Now he's no longer working with him. When he was working with Devin, you didn't hear none of this boring talk.
You are a class act. In my opinion, you are the face of this sport for many, many years to come. This is just another moment for you to show your greatness, your dedication, the way you carry yourself. You are a credit to the sport of boxing, to the Haney name, to the WBC, and it is an honour to be up here working with you. So everybody on Saturday night, get ready for what will be a thrilling night.
It's another way to mitigate the rift between the promoter and the boxer. We know that.
Ben Whittaker, he was asked about your comments about if you'd made an offer or not. He said that Frank Warren and your team did make an offer to him, and the name suggested were potentially worse than the opponent he's facing in his Matchroom debut. I know you said that one of the reasons you didn't pursue an offer with Ben Whittaker was because he didn't want to kind of mix it with your fighters.
Show us the offer. I'll donate £50,000 to any charity he chooses. Show me that written offer that he had. He certainly never had anything from me, and he didn't have anything from my office regarding that. The fighters he could have fought, look at all the light heavyweights on our roster. Fight them. It's just a nonsense. He's going to have to fight some of our guys. If he wants to be taken seriously, he's going to have to step up, it's called, and fight them.
So let's try and start from bottom to top with Frank's light heavyweight roster. We're talking about Lewis Edmondson, Ezra Taylor, Willie Hutchinson, Boatsi, Zach Parker, Yarde are potential light heavyweights that Ben Whittaker could face. I don't 100% believe, Frank, that an offer was not made. It might not have been in writing, but I believe they approached Ben Whittaker, and Whittaker already had his mind made up. He was going to Matchroom. And Frank, proud perhaps, maybe a little embarrassed that Whittaker would opt for Matchroom over Queensbury, is doing a little bit of cope. Frank was trying to make out like he was going to sign Ben Whittaker and then order him to fight one of his top light heavyweights. But let me tell you this now. Frank Warren is not going to invest money into a new signing and pitch him in to a 50-50 or a 60-40 fight. He's going to get a soft touch. Like Lawrence Okoli got a nice soft touch when he landed at Queensbury. And if you do the due diligence and homework, you'd find a similar pattern with fighters that Frank Warren has just signed. And not just Frank, any promoter with a broadcaster behind them investing money into a fighter is not just going to pitch them in with a tough fight straight away. There are exceptions to the rules. It would have to be a fight that the public really want to see. The broadcasters are sure is going to do a good turnover, good viewerships, perhaps pay-per-view, a Riyadh season card, but that's not the norm. And I ain't got no receipts, but an intelligent hunch, if I was a boxing promoter, is I'm going to offer you a nice little soft touch, get your feet warm, to entice you to take the deal. So yes, I believe Queensberry, maybe not Frank Warren, maybe George or Francis, was trying to close the deal with Ben Whittaker, offered him a nice soft opponent, probably softer than the guy Ben Whittaker's fighting on Saturday on his Matchroom debut. No, I don't think Ben ran in fear from Frank Warren's roster. No, I don't believe that.
I don't believe that.
So, Ben Shalom, why would he want to lose me? Frank Warren, why would he not want me? A Wasserman or MVP, why wouldn't they want me top rank? Obviously they did, but the person who brought the right deal was Matchroom.
And you know what it is, like at a recent presser between Whittaker and Ben Gavassi, Ben had some headgear that covered his mouth. Could be to avert winter flus and viruses, I don't know, or maybe a fashion statement, you know how young people do. And it's getting aggressive between him and his opponent. And there's people in the comment section, he thinks he's a gangster now. Wasn't he just crying? Shut the fuck up. About he's trying to be gangster. But he does trigger people, and he triggered Frank when he said, well, why wouldn't Queensberry want me? Why wouldn't Top Rank want me? Why wouldn't a Wasserman want me? And then to really set Frank off, he spoke about the opponent.
The name suggested were potentially worse than the opponent he's facing in his Matchroom debut.
And that got Frank's goat. But what was telling to me is the back and forth, the clips I played from Ben Shalom and Ben Whittaker. Ben Whittaker rebutted what Ben Shalom had to say about the BBC by saying, look at the numbers I do. Look at the viewers I get. Only Conor Benn and the AJAY'S are bigger. He's leading with the numbers. And Ben Shalom himself, when he was talking up Ben Whittaker, twice he spoke about the numbers that Ben Whittaker can do. And he's obviously talking about social media, how many people follow him on these platforms. Why is everything led by the numbers? But right now, the most important thing, even though Ben is nearly 28 and has only had about 10 or 11 fights, we need to get him to a stage where we're talking about, I think he's got a good shot against Beterbiev, against Bivol, against Benavidez. We need to be there. Not talking about numbers. And the promoters have lost the plot, even probably more so than the fighters in this age of social media. It's out of control. And by now, the most dedicated hardcore boxing fans understand that it's a business and the numbers are important behind closed doors. That's where Eddie should be discussing the numbers with his staff at Matchroom and with his colleagues at DAZN. That's where it should be discussed. But nowadays, even on my channel, it feels like sometimes I should take a degree in accountancy. The amount of talk I've got to cover on purse splits, purse bids, who's getting rights fees and site fees. We weren't talking about this in boxing just, let's say, pre-social media. We weren't talking about this. Because when you picked up a boxing news, a Ring magazine, or when you watched boxing on ITV, on Sky Sports, this wasn't being discussed on them platforms. You barely knew much about the boxers because there wasn't access to these extended, lengthy interviews where they're asking them what they ate for breakfast, where Gareth Davis was asking Dillian, do you shower at some peculiar time or place? It's just like, you just feel the potency is leaving boxing. It was kind of nice when there was a bit of mystery and me being a little detached from the fighters. But now it's all a little jaded. There's no mystery. And I think boxing fatigue, pay-per-view fatigue, the boxers are probably now at a stage where they're all looking to hit that AJ jackpot and get a Jake Paul fight and probably get out the game.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.